Yes, thank you, Johan, for this introduction, and also for the past lecture and the act there two tough acts to follow up on. But indeed, I will be talking about how we are applying effectuation in practice here at the University van Twente, but also together with our partners in the back from Saxion University of Applied Sciences. So that will also be the topic of this talk, how we do really apply effectuation. We were looking into all kinds of models we could use within our teaching, and those like business model canvas, the entrepreneurial frameworks, all kinds of big, complex ideas, and then suddenly we stumbled upon effectuation, and we thought, well, what we have here, it is gold. We will try and apply it. But then, who am I and why am I telling this? Johan already introduced my corporate career. But besides that, I always find it very important to also do something publicly. So I'm active in education here at the University van Twente, and I've been working on this teacher program I will introduce later. And working on this program has meant a lot to me. It has given me a lot of opportunities, a lot of nice contacts, and it's also something I can apply both in my professional and personal life. So these effectuation principles, they are really helpful, I say. This teacher program, what is it about and why are we working on it? It is a program co-funded by the European Union, Erasmus Plus, in which we need to create 5 centers of vocational excellence throughout the European Union. And the aim is to train 400 teachers in 5 countries to give sustainable education. It's partnerships in each country of a higher education institution, a VET institution like University van Twente, and industry partner. And as entrepreneurial lab here at University van Twente, we are building a center of vocational excellence aimed towards entrepreneurship, which we really enjoy. And then, of course, these European programs, they all use also a framework or something you need to use. And this framework is called the GreenCom framework. And later on, I will show you, okay, how do we combine effectuation with this GreenCom framework, because it is very well researched, but it's also very large and complex. It consists of 12 competencies grouped into 4 competency areas. First one is embodying sustainability values, so grounding your actions into ethical principles around ecological integrity, long-term thinking, what do you want the world to be, and it's connected to the competencies of valuing sustainability, supporting fairness, protecting and restoring nature. So this is really looking inwards. Who am I and what are my values? How am I going to communicate them, and also how I'm going to create partnerships expressing these values. But we need to say sustainability as a whole is very complex. You see there the Sustainable Development Goals. Well, there's only a couple of them, but there are 17. Well, how do all these interact? How can we cope with this complexity, but also uncertainty associated with it? Well, there are some competencies like system thinking, so looking back from this 30,000 feet view, but also critical thinking, framing the problem, and then making something out of it. Then, once we have embraced this complexity, it's also important to envision a sustainable future. So, where do we want to go? How can we adapt to the things that are happening all around us? How can we explore new ideas to cope with this future we are heading towards, and what initiatives can we take in acting for sustainability to change that and to make an impact, because it all looks very big, we want to make an impact, 17 sustainable development goals, the planetary bounds, more than 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming up the Earth. It's also very big, but we need to find a way to make it more practical, to look inwards and think, okay, what can we do and how can we take our own initiative into being sustainable? And that's, well, you're already hearing it through the lines. That's why we've chosen Effectuation as our vehicle to give these competencies to the teachers we are training. And we hope and we have seen that these teachers, they can apply these principles within their own teaching students, which is here in education, whom we all work for, of course, in the end, to give our students the means, the capabilities, the competencies to navigate in this uncertain and ever-changing world, especially with respect to climate and sustainability. So then I put a short recap of Effectuation in there, but I think the introduction was more than enough, so I can skip this sheet and I can dive directly into how we have mapped Effectuations to competency. So we have these two, we have this movie, we have this framework, and how do we align them with each other? We've had a couple of nice sessions together with our partners. Thought, okay, well, we have embodying sustainability values. Well, it's basically, of course, start with what you have. We can apply bird in hand directly towards that competency. So if you want to embody sustainability values, you need to act yourself. Example for me, before starting on the program, I ate meat every day, but now I've got back and I'm almost completely a vegetarian. That's something I would have never guessed 3 years ago, but here I stand. And I'm still alive, so eating vegetarian it can be healthy. And then also this affordable laws, acting within responsible limits, especially here in education. You don't want to be the sustainability geek, the one who's always nagging about sustainability. But also money, of course, there is, but I think mainly for teachers, it's very risky to put your reputation on the line in front of class or in front of your peers to talk about sustainability continuously, and also always trying to put it up there on the agenda. So then it's really important, okay, what am I willing to lose to embody my own sustainable values? And it can be something simple as leaving your car at home and just arriving by the train, and you will lose maybe 10 minutes a day. But that's already being a bit more sustainable. So look at it not like this really large problem, but try and make it small, and what can you do? Well, and then keeping on with the train example, maybe it's nicer to travel together. So you will partner, you will tell more about your values, and then you will go by train, or you maybe will talk about it in class, and a student comes up to you and says, well, I have this idea for sustainable coffee. I think it's one of the cases that already we have seen at Twente, entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs that are importing sustainable coffee. Well, then lemonade, you constraints as learning opportunities in class, but also within your peers. It's very, very important. Okay, budget. There's a point of 26-point list, I believe, here at Twente, and sustainability is, well, it is on the list, so you're happy with that, but it's also the 26th point. Stay positive, and well, it is on the agenda, so there is a budget, and we can use it, we can try and embody those sustainable values that are being, well, put on the bottom of the list, but are on the list, and then try and implement them throughout our education. And then pilot in the plane, I think the most important, don't be a passenger in the plane of sustainability, and just if you have this idea of saving a little bit of energy, turning off the lights, or when you are a welding teacher, maybe teach a bit something about reuse of materials, and really just showing you are working with sustainability. Then embracing complexity. Well, here it's already also getting a little bit complex. So how do we look at this wicked problem of climate change? How do we map it? How do we understand it? And how can we find those points that we can leverage, that we can impact with our own, with our group? So it's also engages complexity with your available means. As I said in Twente, we have a lot of practically oriented teachers, students who don't know about this whole pre-com framework, for instance, but they want to know, okay, how can I save energy, or do an internship at a company, and this company they want to expand, but there's no room on the power grid. Okay, how can we, within our own means, maybe make our own work a little bit more sustainable to also treat the surprise we have within expanding, but we can't, but we want to, and well, maybe also make our own operation a little bit more sustainable. Yeah, I'm curious. Is there someone who already is in front of the class and can give an example of how they try and make climate change very practical for their students? I will point to someone if there is. Mark?
Make it very practical. Yeah, well, I can say something. We have a course in which we ask also people to find out who am I, and from their values, which they have not chiseled in stone, but they have to start somewhere. We ask them to come up with a so-called SDG challenge. So in line with what you just said, like start small and don't overthink, because sometimes if you look at these gender equality, no poverty, people say like, what can I do, right? It's so large that it becomes paralyzing, but do a small step and then communicate it with the outside world. Don't hide it. Step out, which may be a little bit uncomfortable, but that's the whole point. So it could be in saying that, like what you said, you don't have to start to become a vegetarian for the rest of your life. See if you can eat less meat for a week and log that and share it and communicate and how was that? And then simply go from there. So that's why we do it. Make it small and kind of like see where it goes without having the exact outcome defined. Will that work as an answer?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect example of an effectual mindset. So, but thank you very much for those insights. And well, of course, it also links to envisioning these sustainable futures. We don't know whether the sea will rise a meter or 2 or 3 or 4. We can't predict it, but we can prototype some future possibilities, some ideas within the space we are in right now. We can test these options with small, low risk steps. So instead of changing the whole curriculum of your educational institution, try giving 10% of the curriculum more sustainable angle. This way, well, you can fail. It's okay. But this way you can also start building the small impacts, and we all know 10 times 10% is 100%. So eventually we can get there. But also in envisioning this sustainable futures, I think it's the most important to do it together with your peers, with your students, with your policymakers. I also see some policymakers here in the room. We all need to do this together, partner up, and I think, well, the D4SD program is an example of that, but there are all kinds of initiatives going on. And then, of course, you have all these great ideas, but you need to also put them into practice. And that's where it all comes together. So acting for sustainability, mobilizing your assets, building partnerships, collaborate to build momentum. So don't try to build this enormous coalitions. Look around what people are willing to stand up on barricades with me and to make a small but important sustainable impact, and how can we drive change where we have influence. Then now I have to blame this, and now I want you to imagine you are joining a sustainability effort in your workplace. Well, everybody has a job or has had a job here, so I hope you can imagine this a little bit, and then stand or raise your hand if you feel effectuation could help you in this case. I hope you will all stand, of course, after that. And then I will ask you how. So imagine you are joining the sustainability effort in the workplace. So, for instance, turning off the lights at night. There's one person who says, "Well, I don't want to do it," or "It's too big a step for me. I can't imagine it." But how can you use effectuation to help you in this case? Nobody is standing. Okay, then of course the next question will be how will you use effectuation to get change?
Well, if you ask me, I've been doing that kind of thing.
The rest of you can sit down.
So what's in effectuation quite important is making commitments to people. So talking around, I like to talk. So go to people, discuss it, and see indeed how you can get people or get an institution, organization like university, like University of Groningen, not the most adaptive organizations in general. How do you get something going there, which is making sustainability a more important thing? And I was not looking at put lights out, stuff like that, but more like how can you put it into the education and in entrepreneurship, so more sustainable enterprises.
Do you have an example?
Well, for example, I'm now working at a university in India, and where Salis was talking about this rice husk. I have experienced that for a few years now. In this time of the year, November, end of November, all farms in northern part of India, they are harvesting the rice, and they want to plant in 10 days' time the next crop, which is wheat, not for that, those 10 days, they have 10 days, that's it. And to get the husk of the land, they put it together, they don't leave it there, they put it in fire. All of them. And there are millions.
Yeah.
Literally. The air gets, and you have the scales of how clean or dirty air is, it gets to the level where it's dangerous to be.
It's off the charts.
Yeah, no, it's on the charts, very high. And and I got twice sick. But now we have a student, actually, who is making an installation, like something like installation of husk, that size. Because if there are big installations, there's a Finnish company who makes biodiesel out of this type of material. The Finnish company wants to, and has put some installation also in India. The farmers will not take the time to bring all that stuff to that company. Why would they?
They can't afford to lose it, perhaps.
Exactly, they can run it. So now the point is, how do we get, so this student has the idea to make an installation which makes biodiesel, which will be economically interesting for these farmers on the scale of a small one farm or a few farms in the village. So that will be adaptable to that area. My thing now is that our organization is to get, how do we get this student funded? And that's the thing of getting commitment. And because the first thing people say, oh, that's impossible. Biodiesel, if it will deliver biodiesel, it will not be to the norm and blah, blah, blah. So, let's have a look. Talk. Now, this guy is in this first step of having some money. In India, the amount of money for this type of stuff is what's necessary, about 1/10 what's necessary here. So it's possible actually.
Yeah.
And
Husk actually created an internship system. So every through the undergraduate program, one summer or one winter during the vacation, you go volunteer and work.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Yes. So that's also to reduce cost. But my point here was, okay, how do I get our colleagues who like to invest, who have some money to invest. There's a few national programs of India given to this university to invest in stuff, and they think, well, this is small. But so that was the discussion going on, and can they get committed?
And
Can the student get committed? That's more important.
When they got the funding, they just worked the Husk system in business plan competitions in the US. They raised $150,000 because everywhere they would win.
Okay,
Right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Maybe they should do that too.
Do business plan competitions and win them and use that cash to pay for it.
We look too small.
What we are seeing here is already sharing of ideas, cross-layering towards maybe little twist.
What is the response from the learners and students? Because I kind of do something similar. We are a research project with 11 technical universities doing sustainable entrepreneurship training. Technical universities, a little bit. And what we see is that people are rejecting or moving away from sustainable entrepreneurship, right? Because how sustainability has been presented is this macro level, top down, very casual logic. It's very based on the corporate view of triple bottom line accounting, ESG metrics to measure something, to predict something, beyond doing greenwashing. So people are moving away from that. Entrepreneurs are rejecting completely. They don't go to workshops. They don't want to have anything to do with it. Now we're trying to recreate. We're trying to talk less about sustainability, but embed it in, for instance, creativity workshops and how to better, how to build your product that is better. That is sustainability to improve what we have to make better for the future. So what is your experience with the entrepreneurial response when you teach this thing?
Well, we are actually experiencing the same trend. Unfortunately, sustainability is becoming a bit of a dirty word.
Yeah.
So indeed, we want to embed it, but also just do a bit of creative bookkeeping and change the name of your program. Make it instead of sustainability, make it future oriented. These are really small changes that we see in other programs or initiatives that change the name from sustainability to making impact, for instance, and then it's interesting again. So also look at what you are doing already and what can I change the most easily, I suppose, to make it very interesting. And also on your point of embedding, that's also what we are trying to achieve. So not a whole sustainability program, but embed one sustainable idea into each student project, for instance, and try and make it a little bit smaller, comprehensible, and also more fun to work on. I think that's also very important. Sustainability, in the Netherlands, we call it duurzaamheid. Duur also means expensive. So it's already got a little bit of a connotation towards it, that it's expensive, difficult, it's a hassle, and we need to make it more fun, which we also do by coalition building. I'm getting a message from my timekeeper. 15.
5 minutes.
Do you want to?
Well, fairly short. In my experience, this type of things need to start with small things. Presentations of people who have something nice to show in sustainability. I give you one example. It's like here on the table. Tony Chaclon. We had one of the guys who was starting that. He was in Groningen. He comes from Groningen, so he came back to Groningen. You could say, and we let him give talks. Why is that a social and sustainable enterprise? And how come they are actually the largest chocolate seller on bars in the Netherlands? They are market leader now. And so showing that sustainability and social and so people what you mind actually works in a nice way. And then people start. Some people will work on it, but what not? And that's not a lot. Not everybody wants to do this, but those who want to work on it, it's those who go more intensive further. And the same thing I did with entrepreneurship in general. There's also because also that in some areas is dirty work. Not here in Twente, but in Groningen to a large extent at university 15 years ago it was. But then you give examples, show, and and commit people.
Yeah.
Other people.
Commitment, making it fun is indeed very important. I'll look at the presentation now. So how did we practically try to implement these principles of effectuation throughout the program? So we thought of a set of core principles, and for every activity or lesson, we try to apply it. So start with what you have. Build sustainability learning from existing capabilities, context, and relationships. Well, we have actually do it from the first workshop. I see one of the participants of the first workshop, so I will ask you about it in a couple of seconds. So prepare your answer. Then also acting within these responsible limits. We don't want to over-ask our participants. You have to change the curriculum within a week. It won't work, but maybe the next lesson you will give, just tell something about sustainability or do something sustainable. Building learning through partnerships. We co-create with colleagues, communities, other institutions. We do visits to sustainable initiatives. We embed ourselves using VR experiences. So all these kinds of ways we can learn from each other, with each other. Then turn surprises into insight. Treat this uncertainty you have. Will my initiative be successful? Will it actually help? Will I be able to scale it? Perhaps you won't be, but if you can't scale it, you will have learned something eventually. And then also shape the future through deliberate action. Encourage educators to act with intention and agency in constructing sustainable future. So that's where it all comes back again to this first competency of embodying sustainability values. You need to put it forward, entrepreneurial, but also you have this idea, these steps, these actions which you need to take before someone else will take it. Then we'll skip this one, and I will tell you a little bit more about how we in practice do this within a program. So we have 5 sessions, teacher training. So there are teachers within the training. And teachers are the worst students, so we had to be very careful in designing this program. And we start with something called the Client Fresh, which is an existing workshop. It has already more than 2 million participants, I believe, in which we lay out and we together, building on each other's knowledge, but also building on the knowledge of the facilitator. We gain a better insight into what is actually the client problem. You work together, you get ideas, and then at the end of the session, we also try to make it more actionable. So, what action can I do now based on the knowledge I have gained with my peers from the workshop to be a little bit more sustainable? And I would like to ask you if there is something you have already taken away from the Climate Fresh workshop.
I think it's more about knowing and putting the connections. So that's what we did with our group, and I think what for me was not new, but where I have to focus on is to like the co-creation. So to connect with other people, not my best. I have to work on that also in my company, because together you get new visions, and then you can start working on something that brings up new ideas and hopefully build a better future, but at least take an action.
Yeah, so really this crazy quilt principle, getting to know each other, formulating maybe sort of shared sense of understanding, and then working from that to take some actions. Okay, very nice. And then in the second workshop, we do a little bit of more of where do I stand? Who am I? Do I look into myself, and what am I willing to lose? What's my affordable loss? It's basically what we work on. Finding out there, but also where do I stand as a innovator, teacher, colleague. There's a divider, it's also being written down there. So, but what is my role, and how can I leverage this existing role, or maybe a role I want to take in the future? Then we always want to do something practical, which is also one of the desired outcomes of our program, to really think of an idea that teachers can apply when they have finished the program. So the third workshop is design thinking for sustainable education should be where we ask our teachers, okay, well, bring a real challenge or problem or case from your practice into the session, and we'll work together. We'll get feedback, get ideas. We'll scroll through our phone books. Who can we call to help us with these problems, challenges? We build a prototype which they will work on, which they can implement once they are done with the teacher program. So here we try and convert this knowledge we have built, these partnerships we have created, into something actionable, and we hope that the teachers can. That is the next session for you, I think. Then also it's good to get up close, validate your ideas a little bit more with some experts. So we organize a field trip to Kringlo will be the next. I don't know how to translate that. But we also a thrift shop, indeed, thank you. To a thrift shop, but also getting up close with the virtual reality experiences, also which we again use from another European program. So it's also recycling existing practices, where we, for instance, embed a teacher on a tool where, of course, it's almost disappearing because of the rise of the sea. Really, face the challenges you are, and also look at, okay, how are people there adapting to these challenges? And well, one might come upon the Husk idea and think, okay, well, can I implement that within my own circle of action? Then we end with some reflection. There's a little bit of time in between. Teachers, participants have worked on a prototype from the design thinking session, and they will pitch it. They will gather feedback, and they should refine it and use it within teachings. And there's also a retrospective on the whole program, of course, and you look a little bit back to see whether you can improve. But basically, within these 5 sessions, we try to move through the whole effectuation method, and we also move through this whole recon framework, while keeping it fun, interactive, and practical for our teachers. How many do we on time, Johan?
4 minutes left.
4 minutes left. All right. So you see there's the short mapping of each principle, and then within the burden hand, it's really self-mapping. What can I do? What needs do I have? Then affordable loss, low-cost prototyping, iterative testing, reflection, taking some risks you might want to take or take, project build, co-create, peer feedback, building a community, and not only with teachers or the board, but also with students who are the most important. The laminate principle, we reflect on uncertainty. There's also a game we do the Polar game to get everybody on a line and see, okay, what's everybody's perspective and position on being able to make change. And then all 4 dimensions of the Keynote framework are covered with the pilot plane, where we do like some project design thinking and then putting it into practice. And then a closing remark: sustainable entrepreneurship starts with yourself, of course. Don't become, don't sleep on it and say, okay, now I am a sustainable entrepreneur, but really try to look, what do I have, open the cupboard and see what can I do now to make my teaching, my enterprise, my company just a little bit more sustainable. And if you do that every day, eventually you will have this triple bottom line company. So that was a short overview of the Teach for SD project we are doing, and now we are implementing both green competencies and the Effectuation framework. Thank you very much. And are there any questions?
Hello. This is very basic. What is the length of the program? How many teachers come in at any given point in time? And just a little bit of like, do they just volunteer to come take this program? Like, just trying to get a little bit of understanding.
Yeah, I can tell you a bit more about this. So the program consists of 5 sessions, Tuesday afternoons, so 2 to 4 hours. And then participants, 5 to 10 participants per rollout. Also, as we discussed, it's very difficult to find these persons that are have the time to participate. Education is very busy in the Netherlands, so you need to find the time. You need to find the motivation. We do want to do it on a voluntary basis, because otherwise you will get persons who are maybe not intrinsically motivated. I see in the future, once we have refined the program, so it's now in the pilot phase, we also should be able to motivate people from the first session and then have them participate later on a voluntary basis.
Can I add something to that? I'm from Saxion University, and at Saxion we have Saxion Academy, which offers lots of programs for teachers. And Teach for SD for us, SD is one of the programs that our teachers can use. And we, as leaders of the teachers, are also encouraging them to participate in these sessions. So I think it's important on all levels.
Yeah. Top down, bottom up, everywhere. You need to promote it and embody these values.
And I think, just to add to that as well, I think building a community around these attendees with the colleagues that you have trained is something that is also equally important. Not just put all these people through this training, but that give them a sense of belonging, getting together. We have a Teach for SD cafe or a Teach for SD breakfast where we come together and we share. And we do that not just within Saxion, but we keep doing that with ROC as well. And that's really valuable. So slowly but gradually, it's not going to happen overnight. But we are making progress.
We are participating together also in the breakfast sessions and the cafe sessions. And it's important what was said, like make it fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun to shape the future. So yeah, we'll be together. So applause for yes.